Hey everybody, Jimmy with the Triple C Collective here, and I am ready to jump into another commentary track with my brother from another mother, Peter B. Darker here. Peter, come on, say hi.
What's good, everyone?
Hello, Peter. So, Peter and I go back to the days of college, really, high school maybe. Uh, but definitely college is where I definitely like where I consider us like really becoming friends and all that kind of stuff. Um, and it's just been a beautiful ride ever since. I'm so happy that we finally have been able to connect. We haven't even said what we're going to do. We are talking about Sinners today. That's right. Ryan Coogler's new fantastic movie. It is, in my opinion, by far like the clear lead of like best film of the year so far. I've
Facts.
I have gone to now. There's been a lot of other really good films this year too. Like so far, I have seen Sinners 3 times. I have been to the theaters 21 times already this year since January, and I saw Sinners for a third time 2 days ago before we started recording this podcast. So, yeah, Sinners is good. Theaters are back. Movies are here. I love it. But Sinners, before we even jump into Sinners, and we jump into all kinds of great stuff, what I want to do first is I have two real questions and a third smuggle question for you. First question: do you love horror films? If so, why do you love them?
Oh, I'm such a huge horror fan, but I will specify. I'm not a big fan of like slashers. So like Jason, not really my thing. I
Okay.
see or like Terrifier, right? Is that the clown, the
Yeah.
real
Art the
the real
Clown. Yeah.
okay, yeah, his movies I can't do either. And
That's
mainly
fair.
because they're like gore porn, and I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm good. I don't need to see that. Like I said in the first movie, at the end when he chops that girl in half like that, and I was like, nah, we're done. We're done. I was like, I quit. Stop the ride. I want to get off. Like we're
Well,
done here, bro.
I mean, like, don't get so I like slashers more than you for sure, just based on what you're saying here. I really do. But I will say, like, Terrifier 2 is great, but that movie's also like 2.5 hours of just like pure like mayhem, mutilation, destructive, like killing. So like I get if people are like I need a breather, I need a cigarette, like I feel like I might have just had like crazy sex here. Like I get it. I get it. Watching those Terrifier movies are wild. So horror then. Do you like more of the spooky spectral kind of stuff? Do you like the creature feature almost like a zombie vampire?
No, how you said other like the otherworldly
Okay.
like ghostly entity. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm totally down for that. Or like spirit possession type stuff.
Nice. Okay.
Um, I'll even take a good thriller. Like, what was that movie? Oh my God, they've remade it 3 times, and the premise is always the same. Basically, someone knocks at your door, and these people, the main characters, answer the door because they're in the middle of nowhere, and they get hunted for sport. They get hunted for sport in the house, and always at the end, they're like, "Why did you do this to us?" And it's like, "Because you opened the door." That movie, to me, even though how dumb it is, and I will not go into how dumb it was for that reason because it's not about that movie.
Well, it's interesting you say that particular movie in particular because it's like there's the American version of Strangers of it, but then there's also the Funny Games version, which is a German film, and the German or like the European filmmaker of it then remade it for American audiences as well. And they're both like similar ideas. You basically let people in, and then they like destroy you. Like, oh man, Is Strangers the movie you were thinking of, or is it something
I
even
think
different?
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think it is Strangers.
Because the original had Liv Tyler, and that was like it was so odd because like after Lord of the Rings, like she had a family, had a couple of kids, and decided to, be a mom and like take care of them and raise them for a little bit before she decided to come back to films. And like I remember the advertising for The Strangers being like Liv Tyler, Eowyn from fucking Lord of the Rings is back, and I was like, I don't think you guys are marketing this right. Like, I don't think this isn't how you guys should be marketing this movie. And like that movie did okay, but they have made two other Stranger movies now. They made like a direct sequel, and then I think they just made a like a requel or whatever, a reboot sequel.
Yeah,
Kind of
it's like a reboot.
Okay.
It's a reboot. Yeah, because that's the one I saw, and I was like, I'm gonna be frank with you. When I
Yep.
saw that, and the first thing I said was this, and I am sorry I got to say it like this. This would never happen to a black family. That was the first thing I said when I saw this movie. I was like, this would never happen to a black family. And my friend, she was like, the whole time was like, what do you mean? Like, wouldn't they? I was like, we wouldn't open the door. We wouldn't have answered you. Like, you would have rang that bell, lights would have been on, and we would have not even looked your way. You didn't call. You didn't call first. Oh hell no.
You didn't call. We didn't know you were coming. No, hell no.
No, you stay outside. And I feel you. Like you could be like, I'm dying. Please let me in. I'll be like, yo, okay, like maybe this one time, but I like, and if I'm letting you in, it's got to be somebody I really, really know. It's not just like one of your. Oh yeah, I remember you from like the party 3 months ago. How did you even get my address? Get out. Like,
Who are you? How'd you get? Actually, you know what? Don't even answer that. Just leave. Just go.
right.
I'm wasting
Like,
my time asking questions here. Just leave.
You know my mom. You know my mom's first name. If you know that, then we're good. I'll let you in.
Right? That's the secret passcode?
That's the password. You need to know my mom's first name.
What's mom's first name? Get out.
Right. I'm not even like pointing it out. I'm just slamming the door in your face and walking away. Like, we're done. Deadbolt's on. We're gone.
Excellent. I highly suggest then, if you haven't caught it already, checking out Presents. Me and one of my friends, Becky, we did 3 episodes of the Oscars, and then we actually did a commentary track as well for that movie, Presents. It's by Steven Soderbergh. It was released earlier this year. It's a like ghost movie shot from the POV of the ghost.
Oh, that sounds sick.
It's pretty great. Like the story is good. Now watch it. Listen to our commentary track. Because I think we did a really good job of discussing it, because it's not like gore horror and stuff like that. So if you're expecting that, like, it's not that kind of horror film, but it definitely is like thrillery, scary kind of like stuff. Like, it definitely gives you like the chilly willies and stuff. I loved it. It was just very well accomplished. It's a movie, the way it was shot and stuff. Like, if it's not shot that way and it handled in lesser hands, it's a bad movie. But it's done by Steven Soderbergh, who's done everything from Sex Lies and Videotapes to the Magic Mike trilogy to the Ocean's 11 trilogy with like George Clooney, Matt Damon, Brad Pitt. So like he's done everything and everything and anything in between there.
There's 3 Magic Mikes.
Yeah. The third one is XXL, I think, or whatever.
Look, all right. Well, no, look, just keep going. No, F that.
But yeah, there's definitely 3 Magic Mikes. No bullshit at all. There's for sure 3 of them. Hey, man, women are half the population. They came out for the other 2 movies. Like, they're going to show up for the third.
Make his money. Look, secure his bag. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
right.
fine.
Grab that bag while you can. Um, Actually, it's really funny. Steven Soderbergh took his name off the first Ocean's movie because they didn't know how it was going to do. And he was like, I kind of don't want to ruin my career if it's bad or anything. But like, he also loved like doing it and making it. They all had a bunch of fun. So he was like, I don't know. But yeah, he used like a pseudonym, or whatever for it. And then like he put his name to the other movies or whatever once it was like the ginormous hit that it was. But yeah, it's so funny. So now we have a style of horror that you like. Horror, what does that mean to you? I have always talked about horror being the stepping stone for me as like an independent film. I've always loved making horror films because it allows you to experiment and have to figure out things on the fly, which will only help you later when you actually have a budget and you can plan more accordingly. Because you're like, oh, I did it this one time, like really rough. What does having money and having people who literally only focus on these things kind of bounce ideas with them and then work it through to make it work? So for me, horror is just like one of my favorite genres. For you, what does horror mean to you?
Horror, in a sense, to me, also is a art form. It's a way that, like you said, to express the pure idea of fear. I think is what it really is trying to do. It's a good medium for you to try to convey your point of fear or that emotion of like uneasy, uncomfortable, panic, anxiety. That all comes through in horror. Like even though I may not be a huge fan of slashers, that anxiety of that killer bringing down that blade on someone's chest, that's an art form of how you have to shoot that. Whether we're using, from a low angle, show the presence and the evil of our main character, our main villain. Using those type of things to show, hey, this is like, this is what we're trying to get out of you, like your reaction.
For sure. I mean that's so true. Um, the and that's usually just even just on basic levels of story as well. Just like the story is usually scary, meant to like give you that emotion, give you that adrenaline kind of run, or at least shot or whatever. The other thing that I do love about horror, though, is that horror is also a wonderful playground for allegory. If you want to do like a one-to-one insertion of said any kind of topic, political or what have you, horror is a wonderful place to kind of play with that stuff. And a lot of like early exploitation films, man, were like about that. Like, even going back to like Romero's Night of the Living Dead and like Dawn of the Dead, those original like zombie films and stuff. Like all about consumerism and things like that. But like people are also just like watching them and like just being in pure horror of a reanimated body coming back up wanting to eat your flesh. Like, or like even going back as early as like the Universal monster movies of like Dracula, just like oldest sin coming back to just suck up all of your blood. Um, which then kind of leads me a little bit here to our third question. Do you have a favorite like horror monster, like a vampire, zombie, werewolf, creature from the Black Lagoon, something like that?
Not okay. Well, I will say this. Like I said, even though I'm not a huge slasher fan, the only slasher that I adore to my core, which would probably be like my favorite monster, is Freddy Krueger.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. He's an evil dude. It's so funny. Freddy Krueger is my wife's biggest fear when it comes to like the old school like horror slasher films and stuff. Like she's like, I will attempt to watch all of them with you, but I will not watch any Freddy. And I'm like, really? Not even like Dream Warriors, where they're like all in an insane asylum and it's written by Frank Darabont and it's arguably the best like Freddy Krueger movie since like the first one. Well, at that time. I also really am a huge fan of A New Nightmare, the one from like 96 or whatever that they did. That's that like meta one where they're like trying to make Nightmare on Elm Street in that movie, but then like Freddy and the characters come to life and start killing the cast and stuff. Like spoilers for that movie if you haven't seen it, sorry. But Freddy's New Nightmare or whatever the hell it's called is like actually really, really fucking good and like really wild and pretty crazy for like being made in like the mid 90s. Like it was like really going like trying something, and I really appreciate that movie. A lot of people, I don't think, I don't know, maybe it's like come back and become more of a cult classic now, but like I always just kind of was like, the movie's really weird, but I like it. But like Dream Warriors is really good. I mean, the first one's a classic. There's no denying it. I mean, Johnny Depp gets slit up and stuff. It's great.
Like a series is great when like I recently found out they have a TV show of Freddy.
Yes.
And like it comes on my Prime Video and I'm like, wait, what is this? And it's just a stream of the episodes for like, I think it was like a year they did this, and I was like, they did this for a year? Like that's how you know this man. And like you said, that iconic image of like him in your dreams, like you can't even get sleep. This man will get you.
Right. And then it's like, again, leading into Sinners and stuff, like attacking at night, the idea of vampires coming out at night. You're not safe at night. I love that Coogler picked vampires for his like monster original flick here, because this is like his first true full-blown original flick. Like Fruitvale Station was inspired by true events. Creed is IP from Rocky. It's a spin-off and he made it wholly his own. Like nobody else other than Ryan Coogler could make that first Creed movie, and like nobody else then, like without the guidance of like Coogler and Michael B. Jordan then on, were able to make the other two movies. Like they all needed to be involved to some degree. Despite Coogler not like writing it or directing the next two, he was still an executive producer. And I honestly think, didn't Michael B. Jordan direct the last one? I think the last Creed. Didn't he direct Creed 3?
I didn't
Jonathan Majors, I think. I'll have to, you know what? Let me double check that. But either way, like the point being, Sinners is his first wholly original movie. And then obviously he's done the 2 Black Panther movies. Again, not trying to knock those movies. Those are great movies. And the fact that, like, you know, with the horrific, untimely death of Chadwick Boseman, being and I know it's going to kind of sound shitty saying this, but being able to pivot from having him be your guy to him, like, to cancer being the fucking terrible piece of shit that it is, and taking him too soon, to then still being able to make a compelling Black Panther movie without Chadwick Boseman, like the child, the actual Black Panther, is like a feat all unto itself. It's like an incredible thing that he did it. And yeah, dude, like Ryan Coogler. Talk about Ryan Coogler. What does he mean to you? Is he like one of your guys? Do you have season tickets for him? Do you see everything that he does?
Oh, for the most part, like I said, besides I didn't see Creed and Fruitvale Station. I didn't fall on the Coogler train until Black Panther.
Okay.
And that was because Black Panther is my shit. So like I had to watch, you know, my role model in Marvel, you know, on the screen for me. And then once I saw that, and I was like, who directed this movie? This movie is perfect. And
I mean, to be fair, I don't even know who Coogler is during like I mean obviously like I'm a guy who likes to like learn about writers, directors, and like filmmakers and stuff. I fancy myself my own like amateur independent filmmaker. It's part of the reason why we do like the video podcast. It gives me my own little like outlet of being able to film things, cut it together, also being able to hand it off to other people to do like a new full on edit of it. And so I love doing at least the video portion of these podcasts. It scratches a lot of itches for me in a lot of ways. And so I actually though come to Fruitvale Station because of Michael B. Jordan. I have always been a fan of Michael B. Jordan from Hardball and from The Wire. Um, More so Hardball because that movie was real important to me. I love Keanu Reeves, but Hardball, like growing up, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago and stuff on the southwest in the southwest suburbs here, and so like Hardball was just a cool movie because it was set in Chicago. You know, it was set in Chicago. Like I knew a lot of those, like I knew some of those areas and stuff that they were talking about. Like I had friends in high school and stuff that like knew them too. Like Hardball was just a sweet movie, man. Like it's just good. Like G Baby was the best. That was like one of the most horrific things I've ever witnessed on like film. Um, so and like I don't know if you remember this, but Michael B. Jordan is the kid who like has to leave the team at the beginning of the movie because I think he's too old. I think in Hardball, it's like they like messed with his like birth certificate or like forged like a different age or something so that he was actually like one of the older kids or like too old to be on the team. So like he ends up leaving like pretty early in the movie. But I remember like Hardball and like Michael B. Jordan being in that. And then like Hardball, I don't see The Wire until like a few years later. But like then remembering him in that, and then I was like, oh, he's got this like Sundance flick that's like picking up steam and like getting a lot of like recognition. This guy Ryan Coogler, this writer director of it, they seem to like be doing really well. I'm gonna check this out. So I like checked out Fruitvale Station and like it was great. You know, it's good stuff. It's an early calling card of greatness yet to come. And I'm not saying that Fruitvale Station isn't a good movie. It is. It is well made. I mean, it's like one of his higher rated movies. I think in this long grand scheme of Ryan Coogler, right? Like he's done Fruitvale Station, Black Panther, Freed, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and now Sinners. So he's got 5 movies under his belt. And before Sinners, when your least rated movie, his lowest rated movie is Wakanda Forever, and that thing is still rated at like an 85% on most like Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, all that stuff. They all kind of have it sitting there. And all of his other 3 movies are like rated, and now Sinners are all rated like 90 and above. It's like, well, shit, man. Like, he's one of the best to be doing it. And like, it shows because that stuff is not just fan and audience, it's critical, it's box office. It like, Ryan Coogler is one of the single greatest filmmakers we have around right now. And some people are only realizing it now at Sinners. And it's wild. Like it's wild. Because you think about Fruitvale Station, you think about Creed, you think about Black Panther. Let's even put Wakanda Forever in there too. You think about those 4 movies. Handled by a lesser writer director with vision, like a visionary director and stuff. Handled with somebody with less capability, those movies are shit. Right? Like, yeah, Coogler wrote and directed it, but he's also the one for like Black Panther and all of his flicks. picks Ruth E. Carter to be his costume designer. And then she wins an Oscar. Becomes the first black woman ever to win an Oscar in costume design. And does it like twice now? Black Panther and I think Wakanda Forever. She won them for both of those. I don't know if she was the costume designer for Creed. I'm not sure about Creed or Fruitvale Station, if I'm being honest. I don't know if he was able to grab her for those. But I know that Ruth E. Carter was the costume designer for Sinners now. So I am willing to bet that like she'll at least be nominated. I mean, she does great designs.
Yeah.
But it'll be wild though that if like she wins a third Oscar while working with like Cuckoo. I don't know. Sinners is one of the best movies of the year. So Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, what do you think of their team up of, you know, I don't know if you want to call them Batman and Robin or Batman and Superman because they're both great and equal. They both have different powers of like what they're really good at. By the way, I did double check. Michael B. Jordan did direct Creed 3.
Okay.
So, one final question before we start diving into Sinners proper. Are you a fan of the X-Files?
I will. How do I put this? When I was growing up and it was on TV, right, and I'll just blank on both of their names, of both of the characters' names.
Oh yeah, Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny. Yep.
Yeah, right. When they did it, it was one of those shows where it's like I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it, but like if it was on and nothing else was on TV, I'd watch an episode or two.
How do you feel about Ryan Coogler's next project being the X-Files reboot?
I'm intrigued because he may bring in people like me who may have like not been a fan or on the fence. Now you're going to bring us into the fandom, and that's going to be another, as I want to put it, this is going to be another way for him to reach more of an audience. Because I feel like a lot of his movies, right? Let's say like just starting like even just the names alone, we can just tell that where his direct audience is going to be. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Creed having Michael B. Jordan being the main character, and all of those movies. As you can tell, his focus is on it's Afrocentric.
Yeah.
Even in Sinners, all his main characters Afrocentric. So I feel like at this point, if he's bringing in the X-Files, that's going to bring in his Caucasian audience. His white audience is going to be able to be, to access and be like, okay, so I kind of see something that, I really like, and it's done by this guy, and he did it really well. So that way...
Yeah, continue.
No, so that way they get, like, the experience, like, how I felt with Black Panther, that could be, like, your way with the X-Files. You know what I mean? Like I said, you saw Sinners 3 times. I saw Black Panther 3 times.
Right.
I tattooed the symbol on my fucking arm. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's me to this movie. So I feel like for like some people, the X-Files, if he does it right and they really click with it, it's over. He has the game on lock.
Well, and like, so I'm so excited for it because this is how I felt when Jordan Peele brought back Twilight Zone. Because that's another thing, like Twilight Zone was really classic, something that I used to love. And like they were always so weird. Some of them were scary. Some of them were just like social political. So like they were all over the place. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like that was kind of the point of like the Twilight Zone. It was meant to tell all of these different kind of stories. And so like when Jordan Peele brings it back after Us, like, excuse me, I think he starts developing it after Get Out, but after Us they drop it, and like it's great. like that reboot and stuff, like runs like it doesn't run nearly as long as like the original Twilight Zone because that ran for like 12 seasons or something, like some obnoxious crazy amount of time because it was like the 60s and there were like 3 channels you could watch, so like everything ran forever back then, for better or worse. And at least like Jordan Peele, like I think his Twilight Zone still ran 3 or 4 seasons itself, and they're all really good. Sometimes they do like a remix of a classic episode, but a lot of them were like brand new kind of weird Twilight Zone-y episodes. And so all that stuff is on like Paramount Plus or whatever. But I'm stoked for X-Files. X-Files is like I always have loved, like I love creatures, I love monsters. I love like detective stories and stuff as well, like noir, like film noir and all that kind of stuff. So in like creatures, and X Files just kind of gave me all of it, you know, like X Files is meant to give you all of that. And the one thing that I have even taken to my own kind of storytelling to like this day of like my own development of stuff is that if I'm doing something like long form where I know I'm trying to be like serialized out, not trying to do like an individual movie where it's like something in this setting is just set at this time, and then I could continue on and do something else, but I'm not going to be telling all of the details in between. It's like this moment, that moment, you know? Whereas like a series, you're telling each moment in detail and how it leads into the next one and flowing like that. The one thing I always appreciated about X Files is that there was 2 storylines. There was like the Mulder Scully and themselves and their own character development, and then there was always like the cool monster conspiracy theory kind of thing, and they would always be like intermixing like that throughout the seasons of X Files. There's one thing that I hope that he keeps as like something to be brought over, because I get it when you're bringing a new adaptation or you're doing a reboot, like you're usually going to change up a whole bunch of stuff because you want to bring in your own thing and also make it your own. Typically, if you do just the same thing over again, a lot of people will just be annoyed because it still just doesn't work. You just don't capture that magic that way, so you infuse it with something new. And Coogler, there's nobody better to infuse a new creative take to something than Coogler, because that's literally what he's done up until Sinners, is just take established IP or stories, infuse his Cooglerisms to it, and make it great. And like, I hope that doesn't sound like I'm like talking like down about him. Coogler's a genius, and if I had an ounce of the talent that dude has, like I'd be happy. Like I'd be ecstatic. But with all this being said, do you have anything else? Talk about Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, any kind of horror influences or anything like that before we dive into Sinners here proper?
Let's go.
Okay. So Sinners is about 2 brothers who return to their hometown to start again and leave their troubles behind, only to discover some new trouble, some new evil is waiting for them back home. That is the tagline that they basically give on like IMDb, and more or less that's the shortest, sweetest, probably overview of the plot that there is. Like, right, like in the least amount of words, that is probably what, like that's basically the plot. Like they come back home and they're trying to start again after after it's very clear that they were ripping off Al Capone and a bunch of the Italian and Irish gangs up in Chicago here, which is just like hilarious on just so many levels. I just loved it. Like I love that inclusion of that stuff. I thought it was so funny, but I thought it also like made sense because everybody would know that there is that stuff going on in Chicago. Chicago's famous for that.
Famous. It was one of the big majors. You would think, right? If you would think, even then at that time, people would be like, "Okay, you went to Chicago or like New York." Yeah, instantly they would be famous for it.
Yeah. Um, but so the I'm gonna say this right now at the start, just because I have to be honest with myself. I love Sinners, but I hated this. I literally hated the first 5 minutes of this movie. And you're gonna be like, bro, you saw it 3 times. You told us that. And yes, in all 3 times it annoyed me. But I still love this movie. And it's the one day earlier thing. It drives me nuts in movies. It drives me nuts in pilots of TV shows now. In like the first episode where they show you like something messed up, like in this, we see Sammy, Preacher Boy, returning home. He's all bloody. He's got a messed up guitar. And then we like see him enter the church. And then we get the like he talks with his dad, and then we get the one day earlier. And I was just like, you're better than this, Coogler. And he was right. Like he absolutely showed me that he was right throughout the rest of the movie, that like he is better than. But I just got to say, please, can we stop this? Or am I wrong? Am I in my own little island? Do you like that? Do you like that where they give you that little tease and then they do a one day earlier or a 1 week earlier or something, and then they tell you the rest of the story leading up to that? Do you like that? Do you hate it? Does it not even dawn on you? Like
It depends on what the movie is. Like, for example,
okay.
spoiler right here, Drop does that.
Mm-hmm.
They shoot, like, they show like a past scene and you're like, okay, what? And then they shoot forward. So now you're back in the story, and then they refer back to that flashback. And you're just like, wait, why did you like I saw that movie and I was like, really, we're gonna do this? We're gonna do this right now, and then oh great. I would have rather you guys have like started from the middle part and then shown that at the in the middle, not started with that. But
Yeah.
like I said, it has to be on what the story is. I feel like for a movie like this, for that type of horror film, that one day earlier needed to be done.
Okay. Okay. I like it's just always annoyed me. Like I remember thinking it was a cool thing when I saw it on the Breaking Bad pilot. I don't know, almost 20 years ago now, because I think that was out in like '07 or '09 or whatever, whenever that aired. And but like I remember seeing it then and like, oh, you don't really see that. And literally almost from that pilot on, it's just been all over the place, and I'm just annoyed with it. So that's just my own personal thing. But like we get the introduction to then the rest of the movie. The Mississippi Delta region, Clarksdale, Mississippi, 1932. Um my god. Like we get Sammy, we see him doing like we see him, his life, we see Smoke and Stack coming back home, getting the sawmill. The real thing that is like the craziest, I think, well, not the craziest, because like unfortunately it was definitely around at the time, is that clan dude selling them the sawmill. Like that whole scene is just tension, right?
Yep.
Like that whole buying of that sawmill is just tension, and the entire time I'm like, are they gonna kill him? Well, because then you see Stack walk by showing his brass knuckles on his knife, and you're like, oh my god, he's just gonna beat this dude's head in now. And then and then I was like, and me, because I just can't not do this. I'm like, oh my god, then he's gonna be fighting vampires and the clan at the same time, and the vampires and the clan are gonna team up together, and they're gonna try and kill him. And like, oh my god, and then I was like, just watch the movie, stop. Like, you need to stop this, boy. You need to pump the brakes there, Jimmy. You need to pump the brakes here, my guy. Um, but it is one of those things that you need, so that when you get the setting, the Sammy Preacher Boy song later in Club Juke, where you go through the history of music, I'll just call it as a little tease right now. You know what I'm talking about. You know the
Yep.
scene I'm talking about. It's like one of the
That whole sequence was great.
and I okay, so let's talk about this right now. Seeing it, you told me before we started recording, you saw it in the theater, in a regular theater, and that the screen did not grow or change throughout your viewing. And a lot of people at home, and I'm sure yourself, were like, "Dog, what are you talking about? Like a screen changing? Like, well, they don't do that." And normally, I would say you're right, except Coogler and his DP Autumn shot on IMAX cameras. Coogler reached out to Christopher Nolan and was like, "Hey, I want to make sure I'm like doing this right. Like I've envisioned this movie. It's an original movie for me. I want it shot on the best. And you have always been preaching IMAX, 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 IMAX. So like Coogler and Christopher Nolan sit down, chit chat, and like Coogler takes all of Nolan's knowledge of IMAX, and him and his DP Autumn make this incredible thing. And I talk about the IMAX because if you see it in IMAX, the screen ratio format changes throughout certain scenes. Like the introduction of Remick, who we haven't gotten into yet. This Preacher Boy Sammy scene with the history of music is one of them that gets expanded as well. And there's just so many great moments throughout this movie that the expansion of the scenes and the ratios and the format of it to fill up the screen fully literally gives you a whole new like viewing experience of it. And I saw Sinners 3 times, as we've talked about. I saw it twice in an IMAX in an IMAX format, and once in a normal theater. And when I didn't see the screen changes, because I swear I thought some movies are released still with those film ratio changes, except they just fill up the full like theater screen. I didn't really notice that in my normal theater viewing. And like, and I was like one of those things because like before we started recording, I was telling Peter here when I was seeing it the third time, somebody was like, "Did that guy, did that motherfucker just fall out of the sky?" Talking about a character. We'll get to that scene in a little bit. And like, I laughed like when I heard that in my theater because I thought that was like really funny. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, it was actually at that point where I noticed I was like, nothing's changed. Like the format hasn't changed, which to be fair is like the middle of the movie already, which also tells you something else about the movie. I had seen that movie. That was now my third time. I was halfway through viewing that movie, about maybe a little less than halfway, but of viewing that movie before I noticed, oh, the format's not changing like how it should be. That says something about a movie, about how just drawn in and enticing and almost hypnotic something vampires do. Put you in their trance, bringing you in and keeping you there. And this movie, it just does that. It keeps bringing you back. So one other thing we're going to say, right now, Sinners is back out in IMAX. Go see it. If you haven't had a chance to go see it in IMAX, I highly recommend it. If you saw it in a regular theater, great. Go back and see it in an IMAX. It is a different viewing experience, in my opinion, and I think it's one all should be had. I'm just saying, they put it back in IMAX for a week for a reason. It's that good, and it's worth spending that money to go see it, without a doubt. So go see it in the IMAX. It's out now. It's in theaters in the IMAX. It just got re-released from the 15th through the 21st. I don't know when you're watching this, but May 15th through the 21st of 2025, they're back in IMAX. Go see it. So I've got another section here of our plot kind of like breakdown of what I call getting the team together. Now, we kind of talked about the deal with the clan. Do you have anything else you want to talk about them dealing with Harbor or whatever, the Grand Dragon, whoever they call him? Got anything else you want to talk about that?
I will say, just on a side note of it, it shows you the tension of the time in that period. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people don't think about like they're like, oh, like race. They think racism, but they don't understand like the gravity of it or like how intense it really was. And I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
that scene alone shows a lot of people just like, yeah, like this wasn't a joke. Like this was real.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, this was real. This is real fucked up too on how like because like, the entire time he's flashing his gun, but then you see Smoke reach for his, and then as you got Stack moving with his money, putting his hand on his like it was always a powder keg ready to blow, right? Like I don't know if I can describe it any other way. But it was amazing to really see it captured like that, if I'm being honest, because like that scene is electrifying. And if you're not kind of like into this movie by like a scene like that within the first like 10 minutes, I don't know if this movie is going to be for you. And that's a shame because it is by far the best movie that has come out this year. Um, what about getting the music together? Actually, like finally picking up Preacher Boy, getting Delta Slim, Delroy Lindo. Holy cow. He, that man, Delroy Lindo, is giving one of my favorite performances I've ever seen. Like, he makes me laugh. He makes me cry. In this movie, he's great. Delroy Lindo is great. He's what a Hollywood staple. He's been a classic. He's a classic actor. He's just too good. He's too good. But something we haven't talked about, Sammy, Preacher Boy, Miles Canton. He is hit in the end credits. He was credited as introducing Miles Caton, 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 introducing. So that means that dude has not acted or been like truly credited as an actor previous to this. Introducing means that this is your first thing and they're introducing you to the world, usually when you're credited as that. You're telling me that a dude who has a voice like that, both singing and just speaking, and can play the guitar like that, this is the first time he's ever been on screen. It's like craziness. He's really playing the guitar, dude. He's really singing. Like,
right, and to think that like you said, that voice has never been heard anywhere else. This is his first time doing this. That's wild.
like, like, full stop. Now, this is where it's tough for me because I just talked about Delroy Lindo, just talked about Miles. And we're going to be talking about Michael B. Jordan doing the dual role of Smoke and Stack as the twin brothers. All three of those people need to be nominated for Oscars this year. And it's one of those things where it's like, I both want Miles and Delroy to be nominated because they're both amazing. Like, they really are great. And the fact that Michael B. Jordan pulls off a dual role where both characters legitimately feel different, but similar enough to be family and like twin brothers and stuff, but also like very different with very different mannerisms and stuff. Like, the dude deserves an Oscar. I don't know if he deserves the win yet, because I will say Robert Pattinson right now is the only person performance wise that's given Michael B. Jordan a run for his money. Mickey 17 is is a good, not great movie, I would say. Whereas Sinners is like a once in a lifetime kind of movie. Like it's like a whole level above Mickey 17, maybe 2 levels if you want to count it. Like there's that one and then where it's at, so 2. But Robert Pattinson's performance also is giving 17 different performances more or less throughout that movie. And he does do a major dual performance throughout a good portion of that movie as well. Um, so like those two are leading the way for lead actors because they're both doing really good dual performances or multiple performances in the same movie. Um, but yeah, I mean, they're so good, and I mean, Delroy, and like I feel like Delroy Lindo is like the same thing when you see like Denzel Washington or Lawrence Fishburne, or like when you used to see like Robin Williams, or like a John Candy or something. Like I know some of those are comedians, not necessarily like dramatic actors and stuff, but when you would see these people show up in roles, and you're like, oh, I'm in good hands here. Like this movie could be like whatever up until this point, but for the next 3 to 5 minutes while this person is on the screen, I'm gonna have a good time. And like that, literally the introduction to Delta Slim, like Delroy Lindo's character, is that to me. I feel like I'm having fun in that movie and stuff, but literally when Sammy almost starts to play the guitar in front of Delta Slim, and he's like, the only reason I'm not killing you, boy, right now is because you're his younger cousin. Uh, like, is also one of those things. Like, it's like, oh yeah, no, he'll kill you. He'll kill you. Like, it was all fun and games up until that like one moment, and then it's just like, then he just and like then he has some Irish beer, and he's like, all right, I'm playing at your juke tonight. Okay. Like it is like that portion is what it is. um but I call this part the getting the team together, because they finally close the deal with the clan. They get their music set up with like securing Sammy and Delta Slim to do like battling blues and stuff all night. um we get Smoke and Annie meeting, like rekindling and getting back together, kind of. um Asking her to do all the cooking and stuff. They get their Yeah, they go to town as well. Like what? Smoke goes to town before he sees Annie. Gets like the food and stuff from Bo and Grace, and their daughter Linda, maybe Lena. Anyhow, but the setting up of their juke, that was I love that. And then getting there, having it all set, starting to see like the painting of the sign and everything like that. I just love a good montage of like things like that happening. The setting up, the cooking, the lights getting there, all of that is great. Um Getting the team together and the setup of the juke. Do you have anything you want to add, touch on, anything like that?
No, sir. I feel like we covered it very well.
Okay. So now let's get into Remick and the Native Americans. And actually, something we skipped at the beginning here about the little bit of folklore that they're talking about. They talk about like basically singers almost like that are bringing music to different people. Like they talk about it in what, West Africa. They talk about it in the uh, Chaka Nation of Native Americans, and then they talk about it in another island. I think they were kind of maybe based off of Remick being Irish. They were talking about like maybe Ireland, England, like that whole like UK kind of like area over there. I think, but I'm not entirely sure at that opening folklore that we get. But I do love that we see these vampires and these like folklore tales happening throughout different cultures. That like this evil will hunt and find anyone and and like will try and kill anyone who gets in their way. It's not like they're picky or choosy. Um, but like Remick, what about Remick? Let's talk about Remick. So Remick is clearly the villain, right? Like I think there's no spoiler needed here, but he is clearly the villain, and he is introduced by saying that he is being chased by Native Americans trying to rob him. I mean, do you want to say it, or you want me to say it? I mean, do you want? I mean, do you want me to say it? Do you want to? I mean, racist white man.
Yeah, I was like, this is some white, these white people over here.
Crazy white people. I mean, and then so even so, he's used. I mean, to be fair, Remick knocks on like what ends up being these clan members, the nephew and his wife of the Grand Dragon or whatever, like these clan members' house, and they let him in because he's like these Native Americans using their racism against them. You know, like he knows he knows how to get to these people, being like, they tried to take my gold, but I still got some. But we white people, we'll keep it, right? We'll keep it together. Like, just let me in. It'll be fine. And of course, the Native Americans then show up, try and be like, hey, this guy is bad. Don't let him into your house if you did. And then the one dude's like, his one Native American brother is just like, yo, sun's about to set. Fuck these white people. Let's get out of here. Like, let's go. And my brother, I don't blame you. Like, this is a vampire. You know what you guys are dealing with. When the sun goes down, you are fucked. You are fucked for the next 12 hours. And yeah, because the wife goes back in there and Ben or Born or whatever his name is dead and then kills her. Like they are absolutely ignored. They get what's coming to them and they become the like hive mind of like Remick. Remick, man, creepy dude. Terrifying, really. He really is. And this is some of the first like real gore we get here of the movie. Like when Smoke and Stack are with Sammy for the first time and they like bring him to like the booze car, like their booze car and stuff. There's that like rattlesnake inside the truck. That's a scary moment that ends up getting that snake ends up getting the same kind of cut on his neck that Stack has later on from Mary biting him on the same side of his neck that bleeds the kind of the same way. It was something that, you know, again, when you see a movie for 3 times in a theater, like on the biggest, loudest way possible, like you'll notice things like that. And it's one of those things that I was like, huh, interesting, because it's not Stack that actually kills him. It's Smoke that kills that rattlesnake, but it's Stack that ends up getting that bite on his neck. Yeah, dude, good stuff. So the juke is open, and let's talk about the juke, the partying. Is this like? I think for the first time, like really, I think like you really see like just what freedom means here in that party scene. Like everybody just having a good time. Even Annie and Stack trying to stop Smoke from blowing a gasket, being like, we're taking in wooden coupons for a general store now? Like, we're not even taking in real money. What are you talking about here? And they're like, whoa. We got to work with these people. These are our people. Like these are our family, you know, like when they talk specifically about the guy being like, do you know how long it took him to like work for just that, just to get that kind of stuff? And like Smoke's like, I don't care. This is not a charity. This is a business, and this is bad for it. Which I get, but I mean, dude, Stack and Annie are like, no. This is meant for people to be having fun. If you want people to have fun, let this happen, and it'll like grow. Which is something that I love. I really did love that because like as much as Stack and Annie understand that it's a business too, yeah, like nobody's saying that it's not. But like if you also turn away all of your customers too, like you're never gonna have them. So like
Anything.
try try and get what you can and everybody wins, you know, like a high tide, like all ships rise in a high tide, right? You know, that kind of idea. Um, but what did you think about then what eventually happens as Sammy's like history through music? We've kind of talked about this before. Um, and it's the history through time and music. What did you think about this scene? What did that scene mean to you as a film fan, as you know, a young black man? What does that mean to you, man? Like what does this mean to you?
That scene alone also just shows the creative power that is in the culture itself. And not only that, I also it also showed because, like you said in the opening scene when they talked about how in the different tribes and in different cultures, how this the idea of music and that power that it invokes comes through. Um, that definitely shows through in that scene because it shows the passion that comes through it, the hurt, the struggle. Um, oh my God, that scene to me like was glorious. Like I didn't bawl when I saw that scene, but I teared up a little just because of the way it was shot. That it went to your pure core.
Right? Like that is I mean, so I used to work at a video store. We used to have a customer there. He was an old retired cop, you know, back in like 2006. I won't actually say his name in case if his like his family's still around and they would get upset about it. But I love this guy. He was so funny. He used to call good movies ass kickers. It's like, it's a real ass kicker, Jimmy. You know that good recommendation. It was a real ass kicker. Oh, you haven't seen it? It's a real ass kicker. It was the best. And like this scene is the definition of like what would make a movie an ass kicker in this guy's like is that this movie the scene has stuff that he never would have expected to be in a movie like this, a horror film about vampires set in the clan ran Clarksdale, Mississippi Delta region, and have then this literal melding of time through music happening all at the same place. And this is one of those scenes where, for the love of everything that you find holy or whatever, see this movie in an IMAX theater for this scene alone. There's so many other scenes that like change the format and stuff, but I am telling you, it is a different viewing experience in IMAX, and this scene is one of those things where it's like you can tell that Ryan Coogler and his DP Autumn that they sat there with a storyboard artist and we're like, all right, we're doing this because I swear it almost feels like it's done in a one, but it's not. I mean, they could have done like the setup of like a one take gimmick where they have a couple of cuts in there that are like hidden. Totally could have done that, but that camera is moving all around, going up, down, in and out of different rooms, seeing different tables, different people and stuff, giving you different sounds, different music from different eras, and also then flowing in and out of each room almost like a ghost. And uh, like you know, in the night, we're from Chicago. So we grew up with Michael Jordan. Saying, I want to be like Mike was all over the place and probably still ingrained to our minds now. But I watch scenes like that and it's like, I want to be like Kugler. You know, like, I want to be able to think of things like that or be able to execute things like that because it, like, it's things like that that I watch that I'm just like, I'm speechless by it. It's just so good. It's so beautifully done that like you kind of don't want it any other way. You don't think it should be done by like anybody else. And like without a doubt, it's my favorite stuff. Um so do you have anything else you want to say about that scene before we move on to our next part of the plot here?
No, no. You've said everything that I would have said. Like just the glory of that scene alone.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's.
Thanks, man. Now I'm gonna have to go rewatch this movie again. I'm totally okay with it. I'm totally okay with it.
Do it, because like you know what, like it's coming back in IMAX, and like I don't know, I'm off every single Tuesday. It's like an $8 ticket, so like I might be able to go check it out. I mean, I might make the time to go see it a fourth time. I probably, to be fair, I probably haven't seen a movie 4 times in theaters. Maybe The Dark Knight 2008. I saw that movie 8 times in theaters. I saw that movie, I think, 5 or 6 times opening weekend between Thursday night midnight showing and like Sunday night. That's crazy. Yeah, but I also wasn't married. I didn't have a kid, so you know, like I don't know, like 17. I don't know, 2008. No, I would have been like 20. I don't know. Yeah, sure. I'll call it that. Maybe. I don't know. I can't do math anymore. Yeah, no, I think 88. Yeah, I would have been like 20. I think. So this next part, I call it Remick searching for Sammy. And this is where like so Remick like at the end of this like whole music through time scene, you actually see like their juke like burning down, and I was like, I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, he's burning down the house with this music, and I was just like, because it's a classic saying, right? You know, like you're bringing down the house, you're burning down like it's. I think it's really bringing down the house, but I was like, he's bringing down the house by burning it. You know, like oh my god. I just found that to be like, and I don't know if that was like intentional or if that's just me making up my own bullshit. Probably me making up my own bullshit. But like either way, I was just like, that's awesome that they were able to include it. But then you find out like it's not that cool because it's how Remick is seeing the juke because of Sammy's like incredible sound and music ability is piercing the veil of good and evil and dimensions and being and like it's summoning things, and it's also part of that folklore that they talk about with like you see the like stranger on the outside looking in the window and then they give him the red eyes like in Puss in Boots. That's so funny that Ryan Coogler said that like oh yeah, Puss in Boots like the Last Wish or whatever it is, that third one with the wolf coming after him, the like red eye thing, he kind of takes from that. And like that's why like Remick and stuff like probably has his red eyes. He just said it was an influence. I don't know if it's like exactly that, but people are like, well, because to be fair, vampires usually in a lore will have like the cat eyes that will like be kind of like reflective. So changing them to like red and stuff like that, it's like it's the only thing I can really see that he would have pulled from like Puss in Boots having the like main bad guy like have those like red eyes and stuff. But either way, that's just funny. Like Cougar, watch all of the movies, my guy. Like you're a man. you're we're cut from the same cloth. I hope he has an insane movie collection of like physical media too. He has all the Blu-rays and like 4Ks and stuff. I mean, yeah. So, so we have all that, which is actually great. I love that the backbone of this, as much as like as it is the Mississippi Delta, as it is race tensions with the Klan in that area, with just black families and black people just trying to live, minorities trying to live, because you also got Bo and Grace, the Chinese couple that run the grocery like in town and stuff, like the grocery or trade stores or whatever they call them. So you have all of these people like just trying to get by and live, and now you just got Remick coming in here to, well, Remick and the Klan to just come in here to like mess it all up. And I should say there is a distinction here. Remick really isn't a Klan member himself, far as we can tell, right? Like I think that's fair to say, because he even talks about later on when they're, I mean, basically what happens now, like they try and come into the juke, they're turned away. Remick does the classic like hurt white person thing, like, oh, you mean the color of my skin? I'm not allowed in. And he plays up that kind of like racial tension thing because he also knows he has Klan members there. And we're getting the idea that there's this like maybe this hive mind thing, because when we saw those other two Klan members, like Ben and whoever his wife was, they clearly didn't seem like they knew much more other than racism and shooting guns. Fair?
Fair.
Right? Like, so now they're able to play like some fiddles and some banjos and some guitar and stuff, and it's just like, I don't know if you were ever able to really do that. And to be fair, the Irish, Remick, the Irish guy, he didn't really show up with a guitar on his back either. I guess. Again, I guess I was letting him go by because I'm Irish too, and I know people. I've seen people just pick up fiddles in Irish pubs before and just start playing, and I'm like, oh my god, is this just like literally in your blood? Like, it was amazing. I've never seen shit like that before. People just sitting around and then just passing different instruments to people like that, and all of them being able to play the stuff. Like, it was wild. Go to Ireland, explore new places, get out of your own backyard. But yeah, so Mary like oddly volunteers herself. Haley Steinfeld. She's like, I'll go out there and talk with them. I'm white. They might be a little bit more receptive to me and anything. And goddamn, she gets turned to a vampire. Eventually, seduces Stack, and then everyone's kicked out. Delroy Lindo, Delta Slim's like, everyone's got to go. And basically the game is out, right? Are they hates? Are they vampires? Annie doesn't know. She has some information to at least be like, it's one or the other. Don't really know what's happening yet. But then they like, oh no, because once she sees Mary, Haley Steinfeld, like run out from Stack after like chomping on his neck and stuff, she's like, oh no, that's a vampire. That's for sure a vampire. And then we go into the next part of holding down the juke. But I want to say, before we move on, the Remick searches for Sandra. Do you have anything about that? Mary and Stack getting together and her ultimately like killing him, or anything else then post that music through time scene right before we get to holding down the juke and like basically almost the battle for the juke,
No, I'm good.
Okay. Now, holding down the juke in the battle for the juke. How were you feeling about this stuff? because this is like the classic like we're sharpening the axes, we're getting the shields together, we're going to battle, and like it totally has this, except they're breaking chairs, making spears, you know, making wooden stakes and stuff, which I'm not knocking it. Like it's what they do at the time. It holds true to vampire lore and stuff like that. So I'm not knocking it, but I'm just like it's uh it's just great. I do love these things. There are certain things that are like kind of cheesy and classic to like kind of horror movies and stuff. And if people do them, sometimes they're like, you're schlocky for doing it. But Coogler, who is a very high class, high talented filmmaker, he can do like this almost tropey kind of thing and make it work because it's done with such style. And like, so I love the holding down, like the juke of them getting ready, everybody going back and forth. The one real highlight I gotta call out of it is Remick and the rest of the vampires, because everybody when they leave the juke, Remick and his two, and I think even Cornbread at that point are all turned and they all attack all of the other people. So now everybody who was inside that juke is now vampires, and they're all singing Rocky Road to Dublin with Remick. And this is where, like, in a little bit before, like, this is where we get, like, kind of an interesting point of view for Remick. Of him being like, come with me. You'll have to lose being human. You'll be joining the vampire hive mind, but like we'll be free to do whatever we want as vampires. And Smoke's like, I don't know about that. I don't know if I like the sound of that. And like Delta Slim and Annie are like, don't do this. This is what we're talking about here. This is not what we want. We don't want to be like them. We want to be us. Like
right.
We don't want to lose our humanity here. We don't want to lose the things that make us us. And really, even in the end, like Remick is still doing that white person exploitation thing because he still just wants Sammy, so that he can use Sammy to get his own connection to his own people back. Because if he turns Sammy, it's that hive mind. So everything that Sammy can do, then Remick will be able to do. If Remick is the one who turns Sammy. And that's why he wants him so bad. Is that he's talking about freedom, being able to do your own, immortality, and live whatever kind of life you want. But there's also like, yeah, but you're going to be part of my clan now. You don't actually get to probably play your music because I'm going to be playing it, trying to connect my people back with us. You don't really get to go wherever you want anymore, night or day. You can only go out at night. That kind of sucks. You can tour and play shows for sure, but you also got to drink blood, and there's a lot of strings, fine print there, and so like it's one of those things where he's not wrong that like becoming a vampire will give them strength to be able to fight back on their oppressors too. Like as a vampire, any clan member that you like encounter with, like you will kill that clan member as a vampire. It is unless they somehow fucking stake you outside to the ground and you burn up, like you will be able to kill a person, even if you're attacked by multiple. Probably be able to kill him with some of that speed, because we even see it with like Cornbread when Smoke is like getting ready to pay Cornbread when they're trying to test him, don't really know if he is a vampire. They're all pretty sure, but they're like, we'll still do this. Man, Cornbread is quick, grabbing Smoke's arm, trying to bite him and stuff. Smoke's a little bit quicker on that draw. Right? I mean, Cornbread gets shot through the face. So gnarly. Like, That's another thing I gotta talk about. The blood, guts, and gore of this movie, amazing. Like, uh, it's so funny. Ryan Coogler's talked about like in that kind of sense of things. Talked about the faculty and From Dusk Till Dawn being influences. Both Robert Rodriguez, both directed by Robert Rodriguez. From Dusk Till Dawn is like one of my all-time favorite vampire movies. If you've never watched it, watch it. It is a wildly sexually inappropriate movie, but it is fucking good. It is fucking good. And like, like, but it's also like very pulpy kind of stuff. Like, I just like that. I just like it just has a style to it that I just fucking love. And I can tell, and like, I am a very odd dude with an odd taste, but I can only be me. But I will tell you, most people who watch From Dusk Till Dawn are like, yeah, that's a pretty fun movie. It's wild and like, whoo, inappropriate for sure. There's a bar called the Titty Twister. Just saying. Just saying. Uh, so like another guy has a little gun for a dick that literally like pops out of his pants. It's insane, but it's about vampires and watch that. It's great. Yeah, George Clooney's. George Clooney's in it. He is he is cast opposite Quentin Tarantino, who wrote the script with Robert Rodriguez.
Sounds great. All right, I'm in.
And Salma Hayek is in it, and Quentin Tarantino literally writes a scene where Salma Hayek pours a shot down her leg, down her foot, into Quentin Tarantino's mouth. That really happens in a movie. George Clooney is in this movie. It is not a fever dream of mine. It is real. I promise you. And like, I'm sure there's other people like watching this being like, no, it's really like a great movie. It's really awesome. Like, if you love vampire movies, it's like really great. If you love like kind of like campy B-ish movies, but it's not really a B movie, but like, it's just good. It is just good. It is a whole different now. It is a whole different realm of what we're getting here from Sinners. Like, Ryan Coogler is also saying things about the world and people and society and stuff in here as well. There's a lot, I would say almost a lot less of that. And From Dusk Till Dawn, it's really just pretty much like fucked up killing vampire movie, which is great. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't always need like an allegory or like, I don't always need a message in my movie. Sometimes you just want me to show up and watch a movie and be entertained. Like, fuck it, I can be entertained too. Like, that's fine. It's kind of the beauty of movies and stuff. But the holding down the juke, the battle for the juke, like, Grace invites them all in to start fighting, and it's insane. Like, it's Smoke and Sammy who actually get out of the juke, and they barely survive. Sammy was like fighting Remick as the like sun was getting ready to rise, and Remick gives Sammy this huge scar on his face, and it's messed up, man. Like, there was a lot of cuts to the face. Like, even earlier in the movie, like, while they're doing they're having the good time of like the juke and everything is running smoothly before like Remick shows up. There's the one dude who has the loaded die who cuts the other dude open with like the shaving blade, basically, like cuts him from like here across his whole like face and stuff like that. Gnarly. Again, the blood, the guts, all of that stuff is gnarly and it's great. Sammy gets that huge scar. Smoke, Smoke is, the only one left now, and he starts, he stabs what? Spoilers. spoilers for like the true end now of Sinners. Uh, Smoke stabs Remick in the back as the sun rises. So Remick and the rest of his vampires that are out there, including Perline, is dead. Is dead, dying, burning up. Oh, we should mention Perline here. So Sammy meets Little Miss Perline, and Perline earlier in the movie, Stack is telling Sammy about basically eating a girl out, and it is one of the best. The talking about it is one of the best scenes, and then seeing Sammy Boy actually perform it is equally as great. Awesome stuff, absolutely hilarious. I can't think of the actress who plays Perline, but she is giving a great performance during that. It's so funny. It's awesome. I just like love that so much. It was something that was really funny. That was also like pretty sexual that you get in vampire movies and stuff, because there's always that like sexy, like kind of like what do you want to call it? What do I want to call it? Like flirtatious kind of thing with vampires and all of that. But so we get that. We see Sammy with his scar on his face. Sammy goes back home. Smoke goes, pulls the trunk out, the weapons from the war that him and Stack were in, and he starts setting them up around the sawmill, knowing that the clan is coming. The clan comes to clear out the mess left over from, the last night, and Smoke clears them all out.
He lives up to his name.
Yeah, right? Like, yo, you don't want no smoke, and they got it. They got all of the smoke, and rightfully so. But I do want to say, like, and this was actually this is the second time. The first time I watched this movie, I was waiting because, like, in the trailers, you see this really awesome sequence of Michael B. Jordan looking huge, firing a Tommy gun. And I was like, that looks fucking dope. I remember seeing it in the trailer, and I was like, that looks cool. I need to see that on the big screen. I just want to see what that is about. And you're telling me it's a movie about vampires, but that is happening during the day. Like, I had no scene context. That is happening during the day. I can tell by the lighting in the background. It was like a 3-second shot in the trailer, but it looked so cool. And so for me, I was like, man, I wonder if it got cut between like the first trailer dropping and like the final cut of the movie being ready. If he like just cut that sequence out, and then it happens here, and I was like, oh, I'm just impatient. I'm an asshole. I'm impatient. I don't know how like plotting and stuff works. Like, I talk about movies and how much I love them. I just don't understand how some things work sometimes. And like, and shame on me. Shame on me for not trusting the director, who I love, who's given me nothing but great stuff. Shame on me for not trusting him that he would actually deliver. I'm my own worst enemy. I am my own worst enemy when it comes to movies and loving them. But then we get that scene, and it's just great. Him clearing out the clan. But really the beauty of it is him and the character of Annie basically being reunited with their kid. And so you know that like he dies from his wounds and stuff. Smoke, again, spoiler. It's upsetting to see for sure, but like he has a happy end. Like he's gone clearly to the next place, but like he had a happy end. Like he got everything he wanted. And then we cut to 1992, Chicago, during the credits and stuff. So like we do see that, like it does, credits start rolling, and then we see Buddy Guy up on stage rocking out to some blues and stuff, and then it's like, oh my god, Sammy is Buddy Guy. Oh my god, is Sinners a backdoor biopic about Buddy Guy? And yeah, it kind of is, sort of. I mean, like, but like, my mind was blown here, if I'm being honest. So let me ask, Buddy Guy, does he mean anything to you as like a musician, artist, Chicago artist, or anything like that?
Not besides his, not besides like hear me out, just from the hip hop game and the influence of blues and jazz into it.
Yeah, the
I
history
would
of music, the evolution of it, even. Yeah.
right. I know of his influence of it. Now as to like his actual work, I'm very blind to. But like I said, that what his influence did to it, I know about.
Sure. So for me, so one of the questions that you get asked a lot is, or at least for me being a white dude being asked a lot, do I like the Beatles or do I like the Rolling Stones? I like the Rolling Stones over the Beatles every day. And people are like, you're nuts. And I'm like, I like blues and jazz more than I like pop. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I can't have this conversation with you anymore because you don't know the difference between those three types of music. Um, and it is that simple. If you know, and one of the so we both, I feel comfortable saying this, we both went to Eastern Illinois. And when I transferred into Eastern, one of the coolest classes I took was the evolution of jazz and rock.
Rock.
Dude, that class was great though. And like it was actually because of that class breaking down like differences of jazz, blues, pop music, rock, hip hop, and everything else that they would like go through in there. Like I was like, oh, you know what? Like I really do like the Rolling Stones because of the Muddy Waters, the BB King influence, because I like that style of music, because that style of blues and Black American music is connected to me culturally through what I hear and listen to in traditional pub Irish music. Like there's a direct line between all of that there. And so when like BB King, Muddy Waters, Buddy Guy, when all of their records started being imported to the UK, then that's where people like Keith Richards and Mick Jagger got them, started loving that music, and then started their own evolution of that bluesy kind of style into that rock of what we get from the Rolling Stones. And then it comes back to America with the British invasion of things. But man, like I just love it. And if you've never, I don't know how much, maybe outside of like March or St. Patrick's Day or something, if you ever listen to traditional Irish music, highly suggest listening to it, because like you'll hear like there's that line, there's that intersecting line of like where that stuff meets up. And that's why I love that's why I love Remick being here as an Irishman who has seen his own invasion, his own culture, and his own heritage be wiped away through Brits coming to Ireland, and you know all of that, the trouble, all of those, all that own history of trouble and war that they had going, is like really a lot of like what Remick is kind of trying to play to Smoke and the rest of the people of the Jew. And the difference is that in the end, like they still, Remick is still asking them to give up who they are individually. And that is the line that none of them are willing to like ultimately cross for that. Now, to be fair, Stack really didn't have a choice. Mary was already turned, and then they were fooling around, and then, you know, like he was thinking with the wrong head. Happens to the best of us, you know, like happens to the best of us. You know, it's all right. But it was still great then, because then we see this in the credits. We don't really know what happens to Mary or Stack. We only see what happens to Smoke and Sammy. And then Sammy is clearly becoming Buddy Guy because we can tell by the scar on the face and everything. And, Mary and Smoke show up after a show and they kind of have a little reunion. And, Sammy talks about how that might, before the sun went down, that might have been the single greatest night of his life. The bar that he's playing at the end in those credits, Buddy Guy, Sammy, is called Perlene.
Huh.
Yeah. It's a white sign with like in black, like some artwork, but one of the like on an angle going from like the left side to like the center of like that square art, it says Perlene on there, and I was like, she stuck with him. It's burning up because she gets attacked by Remick too, at the end of it, and is like, ultimately like killed. After the credits, did you stay all the way past the credits? Because I'm assuming you saw the Buddy Guy stuff, right? You saw the Buddy Guy when you went through there? Excellent. Because, like, I got to say, everybody at home, the Buddy Guy stuff is like a mid-credit kind of thing. So you got to stay through this, please, to get all the Buddy Guy stuff. Like, the credits do run for like a minute or so, and then you kind of start seeing some Buddy Guy playing and whatnot. And, like, it's great. That whole scene is awesome. I love that they included it. Like, Ryan Coogler didn't need to include it, but he did it anyway. It's great.
You can see that, like, hear me out. That's like the Marvel influence that he has with it. Like, I feel like that's what he took it from. That's why it was like, from working on Black Panther and stuff like that. He's like, oh, you know what? I kind of like this idea. Let me use this again.
This makes sense. Because ending the movie there, you still kind of have questions like, did Sammy go on? Like, what happened to Stack and Mary and a couple of and Remick and like some of the other vampires? It's nice that he ties it up. Now, to be fair, I like that we get that as a mid-credit scene, and then I love that we do even get something after the credits. Did you stay for that, the full end, where you see Miles playing This Little Light of Mine?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh no, at the very end, after all of the credits, there's a true Marvel style post-credit scene, and it's Miles Caden playing This Little Light of Mine on the like in dressed up as Sammy, like it's like in the little scene and stuff. Dude, it's just good.
No, I did see that. I remember that now. Okay, yeah.
It's just so good. And so that's like the movie in a nutshell for us. We've got a few more things here that we're going to hit on. Vampire lore overall. For me, I loved it. I love that they did. I love they needed to be invited in. Some people are like, well, Mary was invited in once and then she went back outside. Why couldn't she go back in? Well, because the idea of a vampire is that you got to be invited in each time to a place that's not your own home, usually. So it's interesting that they needed to be invited back into a juke, because I had always thought it was a person's home, not just like any place. And to be fair, in vampire lore, that kind of flip-flops. Depending on how you are doing your story. Does it make sense for you to do it fully like that? Does it make sense for only homes? Whatever. I love the use of garlic for this.
That scene where they all like eat a clove.
Yep. They all eat a clove. But even the pickled garlic that Annie throws on, and it like burns them a little bit. Like, that was the most unique use of garlic, short of people just having a big old thing of garlic around their neck, like a thing of ears or whatever. But I love that. The wooden stakes is classic. I loved the idea of hates versus vampires. Like the idea of like a hate has like internal lasting of sins from the past, whereas hates deal with the internal lasting of sins of the past, whereas vampires deal with the external of it. They're like the external threats of like the past, people living too long, attacking, all that. Hates is like a true like body switch, almost like an evil version of Freaky Friday. That's with like a ghost, basically. It would be like you going with a ghost or a paranormal or somebody stuck, and then they start wreaking havoc in your life, kind of like that. Whereas a vampire is, it's like you're still you, you just now feed on people, basically.
Yeah.
Um, I really appreciated though the vampire lore and the introducing of the hates. It's something that I've actually never really heard of before on myself for my own like kind of lore kind of thing that I like that. Um, so I like that introduction. Vampire lore. Was there anything you really liked, really hated about it? Anything like that?
I will say the way that they did the vampire lore for that was true to it. It took the Eastern European idea of the vampire, and then it took the voodoo idea of the vampire as well, and made a good combo of it. Because like voodoo vampires and that they're a different breed.
For sure.
Compared to like people think vampire, they think Count Dracula, blah, and it's like no, they're pretty feral.
Yeah, they really are. They really are. Let's move on to some themes here. I only had three basically. That I kind of really thought that were worth kind of talking about: ownership, freedom, and family. Did you kind of feel anything else that like theme wise, something that Coogler was trying to talk about through like different characters or different interactions of characters? Anything like that you kind of want to dive into, talk about? Because those were the three that I thought of. But obviously, if you saw it in a different way, let me know, or different themes, let me know.
Definitely the idea of appropriate. Not no, is it appropriate? Yeah, it would be appropriation.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like mainly because Remick, just the idea of them, like I said, if you notice, it's a lot of the music or the social influences that they took. Like you said, the idea of getting the people, you could have this great power. I thought it was like a Faustian like deal. It's like, yeah, you could have this great power, but at what cost is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the idea of the freedom. Like, is it what is your soul really worth?
Right. What is your soul really worth? Do you really own, if you're a part of like a hive mind, do you really own yourself, or are you kind of like a puppet for a puppet master? Do you have the ability, like in the simplest terms of freedom, do you have the ability to go anywhere you want to at any time you want to? Do you have anything that you can hold like onto and call it your own, that you own? A house, a business, a car, like whatever. In simple terms, like a comic book, a computer, a movie. Well, computers, movies, like that stuff is like not in the time, but like the idea of ownership of things like that as well, of yourself. Like, do you own yourself, or does somebody own you? Like, despite whatever freedom you think you have. And then family and like kinship, that all I think I mean these things, and like your appropriation and ownership, like those things are going hand in hand, the same way that like freedom goes with them, the same way that I think family and all these are kind of intersecting in different ways. Because it's also like, who's worth fighting for? Your family, your loved ones, your friends, those kind of things. Like, that's what it happens for Smoke in the end. He's fighting for his loved ones, and then he gets his just reward of being able to live with, Annie, who more or less is his wife, right? Like, more or less is his wife and kid. Like, he finally gets to spend that time that was never given / taken away from him prematurely. So yeah, It'll be cool. I mean, it'll be cool. It was cool that they were doing this and made such a compelling and interesting and like pretty like action packed. This movie's 2 hours and like 20 minutes, like 2 hours and 17 minutes. It's a long movie, but this movie fucking goes. Like, I'm not bored at all in this. Me noticing the lack of frame changes in the regular theater viewing and non IMAX viewing is not like a downgrade of this movie in any way. If anything, it shows how engaging this movie is, and that it was a third time that I was kind of looking for it too. Like that was part of the reason why I saw it a third time too. So I wanted to see what a lot of people who may not be like the film buff that I consider myself, or the film fan on like my level of like where I am looking into cameras and stuff that they are using, filters, lenses, like how it's meant to be viewed. Do the filmmakers have a preferred viewing format? No matter like what the cost or whatever it could be, they may just have we want you to see it like this because we think it's the best way for you to see it. IMAX, without a doubt, I continue to say, I've said it a whole bunch this time. IMAX, seeing it, it's by far the best. I think we've talked about our favorite scene, but
Yeah.
it's the music through time in the tube, right? Like, unless is there anything else that you even want to just give like a special shout out to because you also really like this scene? But I like, I don't know. We kind of talked about that music through time. I don't know if I have anything else to add to it.
No, I was gonna say the end. I will say this too. The end scene with, I always get the brothers confused. The one that wears blue
Blue is
Smoke.
smoke, red is stack.
Right. This, like you said, the scene where Smoke is literally giving the smoke to the Klans members.
Yep. I mean, that is also just an awesome action sequence. Like that is Ryan Coogler doing the final battles to Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and just being like, oh, instead of having hundreds of people, I have seven. Our hero and the six evil Klansmen. And it is so good. You're right. Like him giving them the smoke, them taking it, but like, I mean, dude, that Tommy gun, like him walking with the bushes behind him, boom, 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 like fuck, man, like I'm like watching a war movie, and it's one guy, and it's a one man army, like it's so good, like it's so good.
It's like, hey Rambo, hold my beer.
But it is like Rambo because he does have that war history. He has come back home and did serve and did do fucked up things and stuff. Like I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, okay. So I agree. I do like that end scene a lot as well. There's just certain things like I do like on how when Remick falls, like gets introduced by like almost jumping, like falling out of the sky like that. I like the expansion of the like format during that because that just kind of adds a little bit more dimension to that watching. But that end sequence with him shooting up the clan and giving them the smoke, that also is like it changes the format during that as well. Obviously, music through time. Like literally, he plays like three notes, and in those three like opening notes, right before he really starts like getting into it. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I mean when I say that like Miles Canton like is getting into it as Sammy. If you haven't seen it, it's just like it's like a good intro. Delroy Lindo says, "Tell him about yourself. Tell him who you are and where you're from." And so he just starts doing it, and then he starts, bopping his foot a little bit, and it's amazing. Speaking of amazing, I mean, I know for my favorite performance, it's Michael B. Jordan and Miles Canton and Delroy Lindo. Those are like my three. They're my three guys of this. They were, for me, just absolutely lights out. I almost want to give the belt to Miles because this is his first outing. If we're gonna give a belt or a championship or say who truly gave the best performance, it's all semantics because all three of them are great. All three of them should be recognized in one way or another throughout the rest of the year and into the award season later this fall. But like, I was just blown away, man. Like the dude can sing. He can sing. He can play guitar. He gives a really good performance. Like when that dude is like shook, like I feel it, like I feel him through that movie. As weird as that might sound, but that's the point of actors and acting. They're meant to emote emotion that like that connects with us. And so for me, he does that to a T. Um, the only other person that I would say is like truly out of this world is Michael B. Jordan. Like I think with his dual roles, he should easily be nominated for Best Actor. I think Miles Caden, though, I think he should be nominated for supporting, and I think Delroy Lindo should be nominated for supporting. It just sucks that I know if Miles and Delroy are both nominated in the same category, or if they were to even bump Miles up to best actor with Michael B. Jordan, you're just splitting the votes for that movie, and it's tough. It's tough to want to try and cut out one of them, but you also know like one of them really deserves it. I don't know. This is me jumping the gun in May of 2025, trying to talk about the Oscars in March of 2026. Just saying. This is the way my mind works in real time. Everybody at home is saying, because we're not cutting this out, this is going to stay in the pod. So everybody at home understands how my mind works now a little bit. What performance do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have something else that like you liked about from somebody else? Maybe that like, because I feel like we've kind of hit on these people like throughout the pod because they do stand out. But like, is there anybody else that you feel we need to give, their flowers to?
I will say, well, I will say the three people that you mentioned, right? Michael B. Jordan, Miles, and then
Delroy.
Yes, Delroy. Those three alone, definitely right, are definitely the ones that did. I do want to give two shout outs. I'm gonna give one to Haley Steinfeld, and I'm also gonna give one to Grace's character. And I'm probably gonna butcher her name, Lee Jun Lee.
Okay.
Right. Both of those characters alone, like even Grace's character, just when she learned, that her husband got turned, and just like you could tell, it was like how they put it. Remember, he was like, "Oh, well, maybe we'll just go back to the store. Our daughter's still
Right.
there."
Oh my god.
And you could tell, like you said, an actor's job is to emote, and you could see in her face that it was just like that pure mother's rage of like, "You're going to do what to my child?"
Right. But you know what? I also gotta give a shout out to Wunmi Masuka, who plays Annie. Lovecraft Country, like Loki and stuff. Sign me up. Like from the time of seeing her in Lovecraft Country, like I have had season tickets for her. Like I've bought the stock. I am in. Sign me up. Like she's in a movie, she's in a show. I'm gonna be into it, or at least I'll check it out. Like, I like Annie was just so good of a character as well. I mean, this cast is stacked. What are we getting at? This cast is stacked, and like, like we could stand here and probably talk for like 2 hours on just the cast alone of like how good these people are and what everybody like means and how great it is to see all of these people. But yeah, I mean, so I love your two additions as well. I mean, those are our six like basic leads for the most part, but like they're all amazing and they were all cast in their roles for a reason. Like they all won their roles for a reason because they are clearly the best. Things I'm still thinking about. People I'm still thinking about. Okay. We're moving into our final thoughts. We are wrapping Sinners up. We are putting the steak through the heart here. We have eaten our garlic. Maybe it's pickled. Maybe we drank a little bit. Don't know. Um,
I had mine. I had mine cooked in some pasta. We're good.
there you go. There you go. And there you go. Um, but this, without a doubt, for me, I've saw this 3 times. I've been to the theater 21 times, including a couple of repeats of Sinners and stuff. I think I've seen a total of 16 new movies actually this year, not including repeats of like the 3 Sinners, and then I saw the new Snow White twice, and I saw the new Dogman movie twice. Snow White and Dogman I saw twice with my daughter. Snow
Oh,
White, not that Snow White is better than people say. The CGI is really bad though. Like it's like distractingly bad. But Rachel Zegler is actually a pretty good Snow White, if I'm being honest. The CGI. We're talking about Sinners, a good movie. Not going there. Not going to Snow White. Sinners is great. Final thoughts. Definitely go see this in IMAX because it's back out there. Go see it in IMAX. It matters. You will love it. I will love it. I might even go see it a 4th time. If I see it a 4th time, I might I don't know. Maybe I'll put a hat on and I'll make a video or something.
live stream
it. Yeah, right. Maybe I'll just live stream from the back of the theater. Fucking love it. It's great. Fight them. But like, there's only been a few movies that I've really like. Aside from my daughter, because I love taking her to movies, and if she's down to see a movie more than once in theater, I will absolutely take her. But Presence, Black Bag, The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, are the other 3 movies that I wish I would have seen more than once in theaters. I just, like, timing-wise, I couldn't make it work for me. I have been very fortunate that I have been able to make Sinners go there. Make Sinners happen for 3 times. Sinners will be released, I'm sure, again later this year. It'll be released again around November, December for awards consideration again. Because from April, May until, December, it's 5 months, 7 months. That's half a year. It's a lot of movies. A lot of people could forget about Sinners come award season. I find that hard to believe, but I'm just saying. Watched a lot of award seasons. I think I'm semi-good at guessing things like that we will see. Aside from this IMAX re-release, I bet you sometime in November or December we'll see Sinners back in theaters again for like another week or 2 back then. I was not expecting this to be a backdoor buddy guy buyout, from Sinners. How about you? Like, I love this movie. This is the definition of an original movie. This is why original movies matter, from different voices, from different people, from different backgrounds and different cultures and stuff. Like, this is why I love it. Like, America makes maybe half of the movies I watch. Otherwise, the other half are like international kind of stuff. And I'm not doing that to be a snob. It's just like, if you're literally not willing to watch a movie in another language with subtitles on, you are literally just cutting off yourself from half of the greatest movies in the world. And like, full stop. Like, you're just literally, on principle, hurting yourself from being able to experience great things. And I don't know why you would do that. Everybody's looking for a good time. I don't know why that is a major barrier of entry for people, but it is. I like, and don't get me wrong, I have a very small international film collection because there are certain ones that like really mean a lot to me, and there are some ones that I'm like, I'm glad I watched it, but I don't know if I need to watch it again. Sometimes they're too intense, and it's not like a bad thing. Sometimes there's movies that are like way too intense, like Speak No Evil, the original one from 2022. We did a comparison, me and my buddy AJ, about it. That original 2022 one is the most disturbing movie I've watched in 13 years now, like easily. Like it it's insane. It just messes me up and it disturbs me, and it's just a fucked up movie, without a doubt. Final thoughts. Any other final thoughts that you have about Sinners before we go ahead and wrap up and say goodbye?
I will say you were right. Like, I was not expecting a buddy guy biopic. To be honest, I was really expecting a original horror story type idea where I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be like, this is a new age vampire spin on it. I'm all right. I'm down for this. Like you said, you watched that mid credit scene. I was like, wait, what? Wait,
Yeah.
wait, that's buddy guy. What you mean? Wait, what?
Right? Like it's one of those things where, like, I didn't even recognize, like, I saw the guitar and stuff, and it wasn't until they like were holding the camera on Buddy Guy and you really got to see him. And like my buddy Colin, who had seen it with me, at least we had seen it the first time together, he was like, holy shit, is that Buddy Guy? And I was like, I think that, yeah, that's Buddy Guy. And then I turned to him, I was like, is this a Buddy Guy biopic? And the guy next to Colin was like, holy shit, dude. Like, just gave one of those kind of like reactions. And like it was wild. It, like, again, it till the very end, this movie kept giving me surprises. Like, I never would have guessed everything that happened in this movie would happen. I never would have guessed that I love this movie as much as well, actually, no, this movie kind of has like a lot of hallmarks of things that I like. It's a good movie. It's an original movie. It's a vampire movie. The blood, gore, and vampire lore in it are all very good and like well done. There's some definitely, I don't want to say changes, but there's some bending of like the like rules and stuff. Like, again, the garlic is like the one thing of the vampire lore that I'm like, you finally made garlic cool for vampires again. Thank you. Like if there's one thing people like take out of this movie, like there's so many good things, but like if you're like a vampire lore person and you're like, how do you make garlic cool again for vampires? Guess what? Fucking Coogler did. he made garlic cool for vampires again. Because otherwise, like, the garlic thing was always silly because there's no like people never really did a good way other than making like a string necklace out of like garlic cloves and stuff of like doing it, but having pickled garlic, eating the garlic cloves, and it's beauty. Beautiful. Chef's kiss. But I think we've dove into all we could here of Sinners.
I did want to add one thing. I just thought about it as we were talking about it. Another favorite scene of mine, when the fight happens and Gracie lets them in, right? Mm-hmm. And that running. Remember, she lights herself on fire and then stabs her husband.
Yep.
And through the heart. And that scene alone, where she would like, you were just like, most people would be like, oh, well, why didn't you just like stab him with fire? And no, she wanted him to burn with her. She's like, if I go down, you're going down with me.
Because you ain't killing our kid.
Right. She's like, I'm gonna make sure that you don't hurt our child by taking myself out.
Exactly. If I will do everything in my power to protect my child, that means giving up my own life. That's exactly what Grace did there. That's a great point, man. God, this movie just keeps getting better and better the more and more I think about it.
Well, I know what I'm doing next Tuesday.
Right? I mean, there's a really good chance that I may try and see it again. Especially if my wife wants to like go see it. Like if I can not saying that she's like anti that movie. She just like, I will go to a movie by myself because it is a Thursday and it's noon. Like if I don't have to be dad or I don't have to be a supportive husband at that point in time, and like I don't have like real responsibilities that need to be done, I will happily go see you at the movies. Like no problem. I love movies. I live for movies like this. Like Sinners is great. Go see it in IMAX. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up. I am Jimmy with the Triple C Collective. This is my buddy
Peter.
Peter B. Darker, and we are the Triple C Collective. We want to thank you all for joining us. Please like and subscribe to our video and to our channel. And as always, take a nice bite out of life.
Adios, amigos.
Whoa.